And at 174, Penn State can follow up Joseph with top-ranked Mark Hall. So back-to-back top-ranked wrestlers here. Hall, the senior from Apple Valley, Minnesota, 6-0 on the year, and he'll take on Neil Antrassian for Penn, a sophomore from Temperance, Michigan, 4-5 on the season. Hall is sitting on career win number 99, so a win here today would give him 100 career wins. He's 8th all-time in Penn State program history, or he's trying to catch 8th all-time. With 34 falls. Had a 7-2 win over second-ranked Jordan Cutler at Lehigh on Friday. I was right the first time, by the way. Here's a shot in on the single leg from Antrassian. And Hall's just going to spin behind for the takedown. Hall with a couple of impressive wins among his 6 already this year, with that win against Cutler on Friday and also beating Anthony Valencia in the dual meet against Arizona State. He won 11-3. Penn State really could have used a few more bonus points in that match. Hall did his part. 4-1 lead with a couple of takedowns here in the first. 65 seconds in.
And you mentioned that last name, Valencia. That's a last name that certainly Mark Hall probably sees in his dreams, as it's been the one that's kind of ruined his season the last couple years. So you mentioned there he goes to Lehigh, defeats Jordan Cutler, the number 2 ranked wrestler in the weight class, and so knows Zahid Valencia at here 174 pounds this year. So maybe it'll open things up for Mark Hall. We'll just have to wait and see, but certainly like his chances way more now than you have in years past.
Zahid Valencia at 184 now. Hall number 1 at 174. Hall won the national championship as a freshman, but as you said, Zahid Valencia got the best of him the last 2 years. Hall with another takedown and a 6-2 lead.
And it wasn't even for certain that we were going to see Mark Hall wrestle for Penn State this year. So much talk. We mentioned the 2020 Tokyo Olympics coming up here next year. So many talk about guys taking Olympic red shirts here in wrestling, something that really separates the sport of wrestling from your football, basketball, hockey type sports, where some of these guys have that to talk about. Well, yeah, you're a junior, but you still might take that Olympic red shirt. I know it had to be in Mark Hall's mind a little bit. I know a lot of the media people thought maybe that would happen, but he's back out here wrestling for Penn State for one more season.
It really was almost a perfect storm for Penn State, with Rashid and Kassar getting the eligibility as well. A lot of people thought this could be a much different lineup from last year and perhaps the end of the dynasty. I think you look at it, they're right there with Iowa and Ohio State. It might be a little bit more competitive this year in nationals, but Penn State, I think, very much could get 9 and 10.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you replace people like Bo Nickel, people like Jason Nolf. I don't think that's something you just do right away. So, of course, it's going to be different.
And we were talking about locks and guys that are assured. Those two certainly were. We were talking about them a few moments ago. Mark Hall, top ranked in the country at 174, has a 6-2 lead and almost 2 minutes of riding time here in the opening period at 174 pounds. Penn State got a pin at 165 from Vincenzo Joseph, has the 20-3 lead in the dual meet. And Hall working with his forearm resting on the back and back of the head there of Antrassian. So it didn't look like much, but right there he still is pressuring the wrestler and keeping his weight down. And it's just exhausting for a wrestler on bottom in that scenario.
Yeah, exactly. If you're on bottom there, you always have to be making sure you're not slipping up enough to where something happens like Vincenzo Joseph did in the prior match, where he gets that crossface, flips him, and you're pinned. So it's tough to sit there all match long. And for those of you watching at home, any young wrestlers out there, Mark Hall is my favorite person to watch ride on top, because he just commands people. He had over 2 minutes riding time just in that first period alone. Just a commanding wrestler on top, going for that riding time.
Antrassian could not hold on to the leg anymore, and Hall just scooted his hips around there, has the reversal. It's 8-2. Again, the first dual meet of the year for Penn. If you're just joining us, Penn State got back on track on Friday with their win against in-state rival Lehigh in Bethlehem. And it just shows you what the Penn State brand has become here on the mat. And I know Cale Sanderson has taken his team to different spots, but to go out to Arizona State, record-setting crowd at Lehigh the other night. Everyone wants to get a glimpse of the top team in the country. I know that's not where they're ranked right now, but if you look back at the last decade, Penn State has been the best. And Hall has another takedown. He is the best at 174.
And kudos for Penn State for deciding to do those type of things, like going to Lehigh 2 seasons ago. I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania. Penn State actually went up and wrestled at Binghamton, New York. In there, that's a small school up there, and so the crowd was full of Penn State people that normally wouldn't get the chance here in Rec Hall as back points.
Hall with a 10-3 lead. He's going to get 4 more. His lead extends to 11. Riding time is secure. Or not yet secure, but you feel like it is with 2:40 and 20 seconds left in the second period. Maybe jumping the gun, but I think we're pretty safe.
I think we'll let it slide.
(14-3) after 2.
It's a clinic. This is a clinic from Mark Hall. This is what you expect from Mark Hall. 14-3. It's not pretty yet, but with 2 minutes left in this match, he's setting up for whether it's a tech fall, a pin, definitely a major decision. Mark Hall in full control.
Start on their feet here in the third. Hall goes to double underhooks. Jacks him up and tosses Antrassian all the way. No, couldn't get him there. Hall has the takedown.
He was close, and this Rec Hall crowd wanted it.
Looking for the cradle on the outside. It's at 16-3. (16-4) after the escape, and Hall does have that riding time point coming. See our graphic there, putting the riding time point on. You have about an idea of where Hall's at. He gets the takedown. That makes it 18-4 for Hall.
And it wouldn't surprise me a bit here to just see Mark Hall kind of continue to ride this thing out.
Here with the riding time point, he'll have a tech fall. Get back points here. Yeah, I think the best way to put it, Ben, as you said, this is just clinical. It's very methodical. A couple of flashy moves from Hall trying to get the turn, but instead it's been Antrassian just trying to avoid the pin.
Yeah. Yeah, and not really much you can do against Mark Hall here. 3.5 seconds left in this match. All Mark Hall from start to finish. And, you know, Antrassian, he fought hard, but he's just, Mark Hall's part of the murderous row that remains here in Happy Valley, and he certainly lived up to that name today.
And 19-4 is the final. Mark Hall stays unbeaten at 7-0 on the year. And that for him is career win number 100.